bearings in this are shot, bro.
Oh, it's garbage.
There we go.
I'll sell it to you for $300. The dude was telling me about a bait that only know what I've watched on you.
Right. There we go. That's what I'm hoping. Yeah. First fish of the day. Hoping for a good bonita here. We are out getting ready to fish the reefs. And if this is a bonita, there'll be some great bait. Pulling good. Come on. Gotta chase him down. I've got pretty light line on this. Stay tight, stay tight, stay tight. Come on. Come on. Oh, chill. Oh, dang it. He took my lure. You son of a god. Dang it. Oh man, that was a $12 Yozuri too. He broke off on my rudder. That sucks. Oh, that's a good one. All right, we are on already. Come on. Come on. Come on. Go. Woo. These guys got to be 16 inches to keep. But it's a start, and he ate that live bait, so that's a good sign. Get out the old bump board here. Lift that tail up, sir. Thank you. Yeah, so total length on these guys, which means tail pinched. So we've got fork length fish, and then we've got total length fish. Red snapper are a total length fish, so with that bottom lip pressed up against the bumper there, and tail pinched, he is right at about 17 inches, which means that that is a keeper snapper on the very first drop of the day. We're gonna go ahead and keep this one since he is legal, and I don't want to take my chances with potentially not getting another keeper if we let him go. Heck yeah. There is a little bit of a better look at that 17-inch red snapper. Beautiful little fish, guys. Look at these in the sunlight. These are gorgeous, and if you guys don't live here in Florida or on the Gulf Coast and you're not familiar with these are an extremely good eating fish. A lot of people consider them one of the best, and these are very, very expensive. If you go to a restaurant here on the Gulf Coast and get some fresh red snapper, you're looking at spending quite a bit per plate. So the fact that we can come out here and catch these guys is really awesome, and there's a lot of meat on these fish too. If you guys can see how fat that fish is. I actually caught one of these out here yesterday, and I took it home, filleted it, and cooked it last night, and it was enough to feed me and my wife, and honestly it probably could have fed 4 people. There's a lot of meat on these guys, and that's gonna make a good dinner. So I'm gonna go ahead and bleed them out, and we'll get back to fishing. All right, first one in the bag. 26.
Works for me.
Heck yeah, dude. That's what's up.
Man. That's exciting.
That's a good keeper, man.
That is. That'll make a sandwich.
Yeah, right. Make a 5 foot long.
Right.
Nice, man. All right, so we are gonna work our way back up over a certain set of reefs that we wanna drift over. But while we do that, I'm gonna go ahead and toss out the Rapala, and we're just gonna kind of troll our way back. It's going deep. I'm not exactly sure what this is. I didn't have the camera going because we were on our way to the next spot, and I literally threw this out. It hit the water and I thought I was tangled, and all of a sudden there was something there. Come on, don't cut me off. I don't want to lose another Yozuri today. Come on. Come on. What do we got here? Hey. Nope. That was the weirdest freaking bite. I don't know what we have here. I haven't seen it yet. He dove straight down when we hooked him. Oh, there he is. What is that? What is that? What? Is that a bonita? It is a bonita. It doesn't feel like a bonita. Interesting, interesting. Come here.
What is it?
It's a bobo.
Yeah.
The weirdest bite though, dude.
Look at that. He saw that kayak and he is running for his life. Literally.
No, no, no. Come here. Jeez, dude. That's actually not even a bad one either. That's a decent bonita. There we go. Get in there. Woo! Got him. Heck yeah, dude. There we go. Whew. All right, guys, there it is. Check out that bonita. And that's actually a good size one too. I literally just threw that little Yozuri out, and it was that little 4-inch that I showed you guys earlier. It hit the water, and I let the drag run for a little while, and I set it, and I thought I was like hung up on something, but this little bonita grabbed it before it even started moving. That's pretty crazy. That's a good size one, and these things make excellent bait for red snapper, triggerfish. They're super oily, super bloody. They're, you know, technically called little toonie, false albacore. They've got a couple different names, but they're a super pretty fish. You guys can see that kind of like rainbow like pattern on their back there, and they look like a tuna, just a little bit smaller, but they are gorgeous and they fight really good too. That was fun. But we're gonna keep this guy. We're gonna use him as bait probably a little bit later on once we run out of live. And we are over some reefs right now, so we're gonna go ahead and get back to bottom fishing. I'm gonna try cutting this bobo up now that he's dead. So usually what I like to do with these is just kind of start right here in this nice fat middle section of the body. And we'll just take maybe like a 2x4 inch piece off, just like that. And you can see just how oily and bloody this fish is, and it just makes excellent bait out here. There we go. And I'm fishing a dropper rig. This is one that I tied myself. These are super easy to tie. I'm probably going to do a video for you guys here soon, a little how-to on how to tie these dropper rigs, but these are my favorite rigs to fish out here for triggerfish and your smaller to medium-sized snapper. I've just got a 2-ounce bank sinker on the bottom of that, and I've got a 5/0 Mustad Ultra Point circle hook on there. So we're gonna go ahead and drop this down to the bottom, continue this drift over these next couple reefs, and then we'll probably move on and see if we can find maybe a new area that we haven't fished yet. All right, well, I was just screwing around, and I've got the big rod out over here with a full ruby red lip on it, hoping that a big snapper would come along and grab it. And while that's out, I thought I would mess around and drop my ultralight rig here and maybe play with some triggerfish or something. I'm not really sure what we got. It feels like maybe a borderline keeper snapper or a triggerfish. Oh, come on. Oh, it's triggerfish. It's a little triggerfish. Definitely not a keeper. But that is the first triggerfish that we've seen today. So that's cool. Heck yeah, dude. Fat little triggerfish. That's pretty freaking cool. Yeah, he's about 12 and a half. Cool fish though, man. See you later. There's a fish. This one feels like probably a ruby red lip. Oh, it's a little, oh, it's a vermilion snapper. Oh my gosh. Oh, that is exciting. I think he's gonna be a keeper too. Those vermilion only have to be about 10 inches to keep. And you can keep up to 10 of them in a day. Oh, chill. Yeah, so he's about 10 and a half inches, which means that he is a keeper. That is freaking awesome. I have not caught one of these guys in probably about 6 months. It's been a little while, so that's cool to see that they're out here today. Alrighty guys, well, I am on my way back to the beach right now. It's been a long day. We've been at it for about 8 hours, and I can't really complain. You know, it was a successful day. We've got some fish in the bag. We got that snapper, that red snapper that we caught this morning, and then we got that vermilion snapper that we caught just a few minutes ago. And then of course, as soon as I turn the camera off, we got one more pretty nice little vermilion snapper. So definitely a lot of work for those fish. And upon catching that last snapper, I realized that there is no more ice in the fish bag. So we're heading back to the beach right now. I need to get these fish on some ice quick so they don't go bad. And to close this video out, I think what we're gonna do is I'm gonna take you guys back to the house with me. I'm gonna show you how to clean these fish first of all, and then I'm gonna show you guys one of my favorite recipes to cook when I have fresh fish in the house. So this is gonna be awesome, guys. Stick around, stay tuned. I'll see you guys in a few minutes. So we're gonna get started on this side of the fish. So usually what I like to do is flip these around and get a good sharp fillet knife. I'll get started right behind the pectoral fin, and I like to start going forward at about a 45-degree angle. That way you can get up under those scales there. Get yourself started right behind the pectoral, and then I like to take just the tip of that knife and work it up behind the gill plate, and you'll feel the back of the fish's skull. So I like to just kind of follow that right up around the top of the head. And there's a lot of good head meat right up here that I don't like to miss. So go as far forward as you can, just follow that skull all the way up. Once I get up here to the top of the head, I like to use the fish's dorsal fin in that ridge right there to kind of follow all the way down that bone structure. And you'll feel the difference. If you're in the meat, it's gonna be nice and soft. When you start hitting those bones, it's gonna be hard. Now, obviously you don't wanna go through the bones. So what I like to do is take just the tip of my fillet knife, and I will turn it from that cut that we already made. And I'm gonna apply just very careful downward pressure and kind of bend that blade. And what's gonna happen is just the tip of that blade is gonna follow that dorsal fin all the way down the back of the fish. If you start feeling like you're cutting through the bone, stop, open the fish up and take a look. But otherwise you should get down to about right here, and you're gonna start feeling the bone structure of this fish. And you can just follow that all the way down the back. I like to use just about the first inch of that fillet knife just to get started, just to make sure that we're in the right spot and we're not wasting a bunch of meat. Then when I get down to the tail right here, I like to go all the way through, still applying downward pressure to keep that knife firmly where I want. And you should pop through almost in the same spot as you are on the top here, on the bottom. So you can see they've got this fin back here, so you should be right on top of that bone structure, and slowly start applying downward pressure and work the tail section of that fillet off the fish. So I will firmly press that blade down on that bone structure and start working it forward, just inch by inch. Now I like to work it forward probably about 4 or 5 inches until I get to the front of this bottom fin right here. And then I like to switch sides And I like to peel the top of this fish open just like this. So if you look down inside there, we've got this bone structure, if you guys can see that from the dorsal fin. So I like to continue working that, and again, I'm applying downward pressure with that blade, keeping it on that bone structure, and that way you are getting all of that meat off of there, not wasting anything. Now what's gonna happen is once you work all the way down that fish, you guys can see the bone structure right here from that dorsal fin, and you can see the spine right here. So what we did is we just kind of inch by inch worked that all the way down to that cut that we made at the beginning. Now what you're gonna see is you're gonna encounter some resistance, and that's gonna be the rib cage, which are these bones right here. So what I like to do is stop that step for just a minute. We'll forget about that, and I like to come back down here to the tail, and I like to get in here and continue the bottom half of this fillet, just kind of working it off until I reach the gut sack, which should be about midway down the fish, and there it is right there. So if you guys take a look inside this fish now, you're gonna see this this dark cavity behind the rib cage, and that's gonna be your gut sack. Obviously we don't really need to cut into that. So what I'll typically do is I will follow right over the top of the rib cage, just like that, and meet that cut right up at the top. So we will go ahead and take the skin off. These fish are pretty easy to get the skin off of. Their skin is very, very thick, almost leathery, so it makes it easy to run that knife kind of right through the fillet there. So I like to get it started. Just go a few inches down the fillet from the tail side and then flip it around. And one thing that I also like to do is I'll actually take my fillet knife and make a hole right in the center, just like that. And I'll actually take my finger and punch it through that hole. And now you have a handle, so you can take that fillet knife. I like to get it right on the edge of the board and just apply slight downward pressure on that blade end, and you can just work it all the way forward. And there it is. This center piece right here is where the pin bones are located. Now the pin bones on this fillet are only gonna go to about right here. You can't take a pair of tweezers and pull those out. That's gonna be the way that's gonna save the most amount of meat. What I'll typically do is I'll find where those pin bones are at, and I will go about an inch back into the fillet, right down that center line, and I'll just cut those pin bones right out. There you go. So this little piece right here that we took out of the center is where those pin bones are, so we can throw that away. And now we have a completely boneless fillet of red snapper. I'm gonna show you guys how to make one of my favorite fish dishes. In fact, I just made this 2 days ago because it's so good, and I actually made it once last week, I believe, as well. So we're gonna make fresh fish sandwiches. There's gonna be a bunch of stuff that you're gonna need for this recipe. Obviously, red snapper or any kind of white flaky fish works perfect for this, and we're not gonna fry it. Red snapper is way too good to be frying, so we're gonna do this just kind of like pan seared. We're gonna keep it super simple. So the first thing that I'm gonna do before we get started is I'm going to preheat my oven so we can get these potatoes cut up and get them in the oven. Just start slicing these in about 3/4 of an inch discs, and then we'll just take these into little cubes just like that. So the next thing we're gonna do once we have those potatoes in there is we're gonna take just a little bit of oil and just kind of drizzle that into that bag. It's Creole seasoning. I'm gonna put a bunch of that in there. Fresh cracked black pepper. And then give this a good shake to get that stuff perfectly coated and seasoned over those potatoes. So we've got those potatoes completely coated there. You guys can see all that seasoning on there, and they're completely coated with the oil on all sides, and that's gonna help them get super crispy. So now we can go ahead and stick this into the oven on 450 degrees, and it's gonna take about 25 to 30 minutes for these to get perfectly crispy on the outside, and the middles will be nice and soft. Once you got your potatoes going in the oven, we start getting our other veggies ready. But I'll do 4 relatively thin slices of tomato here, and green onion. We're gonna use this as a garnish over the potatoes at the end. And then we're gonna do a couple pickles. I prefer to do dill with this. It gives it a really good flavor with that fish. Yes, I am using my fingers to get the pickles out of the jar. And I'm gonna finely chop these up. So we're just gonna kind of real finely dice these guys. So we're just gonna go ahead and get the zest off the outside of this lemon. And now, once we've got that done, we can go ahead and quarter that lemon. So for the amount that I'm making for 2 people, I usually like to just splash sour cream all over my shirt. I like to do just two or 3 good sized scoops. I think we'll just do 2. And then I'm gonna take a little bit of our fresh cracked pepper here and put that in. We're also gonna do a little bit of that Tony Chachere's in there just to give it some good flavor to it. Just a little bit of minced garlic. You'll also get all the juices from it. Whereas if you use fresh garlic, like I said, you're gonna have to cook that garlic first. Otherwise, you're just gonna have like hard, super spicy chunks of garlic in this, which is not really what you want. What I like to do is just add like a teaspoon of water at a time. Give it a little mix here. And you can see it starts to get a little bit more creamy. So just keep adding little bits of water until you end up with like kind of a drizzling consistency. And this is what we're gonna drizzle over those potatoes at the end. All right, and then we are gonna make the actual sauce that's gonna go on the sandwiches now. So for that, I like to use some mayonnaise as our base. We're gonna do the same kind of thing here, just 2 relatively good size spoonfuls of that. And then what we're gonna do now is we're gonna take that lemon zest that we got earlier. We're gonna put that in there. We're gonna put some more minced garlic in this one as well. And we're gonna add some of that. And some pepper. And we're also gonna put that dill pickle in there. And it looks like I probably have a little bit too much, so I don't think we're gonna use all of this. We'll put about that much in right there. And this here, I like to leave just about this consistency, probably the same consistency as the mayonnaise when it comes out of the jar. And give that a little taste, make sure it's to your liking if you need to add salt or spices or whatever. Really the only thing left to do now is gonna be to actually cook that fish. Now the potatoes still have probably about 20 minutes left on them. Now you can sit back and relax for a few minutes. Probably about 10 minutes before the potatoes are done cooking is when I like to actually get that fish into the pan and get it cooking, because it's only gonna take about 5 minutes to get that fish cooked. So those potatoes have probably about 10 minutes left. So at this point, there's a couple different things we need to do. First thing is we need to turn on our pan over here. I like to turn it on to about halfway. And we're gonna let that start heating up. And I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna put a little bit of butter in that pan here. I'll let that start melting down. And then I'm also gonna put just a little bit of oil in there. And then while that butter is melting down in that pan, we're gonna take the potatoes out very briefly. We're gonna take some of our bacon bits and just kind of lightly sprinkle those over the top of these potatoes so they get nice and crispy. And we can go ahead and put these back into the oven. And then once you got that butter melted down in the pan there and nicely mixed with that oil, the pan's nice and hot, we can go ahead and add our fish, just like this. So we're gonna go ahead and get some of our Old Bay seasoning on this top side of the fish. And I don't like to go too crazy with it here, just because this is such a flavorful fish already. You don't need to ruin the flavor of the fish but I definitely like to get a little bit of this on there. And then I'll take some of my black pepper and get that all over the top of this fish here. Get that flipped over there. And now I'll go ahead and season this opposite side here. So we're gonna let this go ahead and cook for probably about 3 or 4 minutes on this side. Get a nice little sear on that back side. And then right before this is done, when it's about 130, 135 degrees, it only needs another minute. We're gonna flip it over and get that last little sear on this back side here. And that'll take it right to about 145 degrees. And that's when it's ready. It's nice and juicy, and it's not gonna get leathery if you let it get past that. The potatoes should be just about done. So we're gonna take those out of the oven. And those are nice and crispy. You guys see that on there. They've got a nice crust on them, but they're super soft on the inside. They just break apart, and that's exactly what we are looking for. So now, right before we take that fish off, I'm gonna take our buns, get them cut in half, and we're gonna get those in the toaster oven so they can get that nice crispiness to it before we put the fish on them. All right, the time has come. So we have got our beautifully toasted onion rolls here. Spread some of our homemade tartar sauce on these buns. I'm gonna get a pretty generous amount on there. This stuff is super good. It's probably my favorite sauce to make when I'm doing pretty much any kind of fish dish here. All right, so we will get that beautiful, beautiful red snapper loaded up on these sandwiches. And then I like to put a little bit of feta cheese on these. It goes really good with these fish sandwiches. A little bit of lemon drizzle over the fish. And now we get these beautiful crispy potatoes on our plates here, and I'm glad I only did 2 of these potatoes. I think 4 was definitely excessive. I like to just take my spoon and just get spoonfuls of it and just kind of drizzle that right over the top of those potatoes. And then just a little bit of lemon drizzle over those potatoes as well. And then I'm going to garnish those potatoes with a little bit of our green onion. Look at those absolutely amazing fish sandwiches. We got the potatoes just perfectly plated on there with that drizzle over the top of it. Those look really good. And then we've got that red snapper tucked in that bun there, nice and toasted with that lettuce, tomato. We've got that homemade tartar sauce on there, feta cheese. It looks so good. All right, we'll try the potatoes here first, see how those are. Oh man, those are amazing. I'm gonna take another bite of those before I even go for that fish sandwich. If you go to any of our restaurants here on the Gulf Coast, this is the most expensive fish on the menu. People pay a lot of money for red snapper, and the idea that we can just go out on our kayaks when the season's open and just get these fish for free is just amazing to me. So let's give this sandwich a try. That was so good, guys. That is absolutely amazing. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure you leave a comment below and let me know what you thought of it. This is an awesome dish, guys. Like I said, this is my favorite way to do fresh fish. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put the recipe for this, all the ingredients, every single step on how you can cook this down below in the description. So if you guys are interested in cooking this at home for yourself and your family, check out the description. It'll walk you through step by step what you need and how to do it. And then one more thing before I close this video out is I had one of you guys reach out to me a couple months ago and tell me about a program that I should get into, and I finally set up an account for it. So that is the Amazon Affiliates program. So what I'm gonna start doing in every single video is I'm gonna start linking every single piece of gear that I use throughout the video. Rods, reels, line, leader line, lures, fish finder, GoPro cameras, all that stuff is gonna be linked down in the description. So if you guys are looking to purchase new line or new lures or any of that stuff that you're seeing me use in my videos, if you look down in the description in this video as well as in future videos, you're gonna see a link with that product. So if you click on that link and you purchase that product, it's actually gonna give me commission for it. So it's a win-win situation. It really helps me out, and you guys were gonna buy the product anyway. So I would really appreciate you guys checking that out. It's a great way to support the channel if you guys are looking to do that. But other than that, guys, thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I look forward to seeing you guys on future videos as well. So as always, guys, thank you, and I will see you on the next one.